to 1. For every new one we give, they're getting rid of 30 old, broken-down regulations. And we've slashed nearly $1 trillion worth of regulatory burdens. We have regulations that are so old and nobody uses them, but they stymied a lot of production, a lot of jobs. And I did it the first time, and we had the largest regulation cuts in history, and now we're exceeding it this time. So it's big. It's one of the reasons we did so well then, and I think it's one of the reasons we're doing so well now. Again, we have to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, nobody else, the fake news, is not going to talk about it. And we have streamlined permitting for the new energy and mining projects. What used to take decades now takes 28 days. And on day one, I signed an executive order to unleash American energy and officially terminate the Green New Scam. Has anyone ever heard of the Green New Scam? Remember the old thing, global warming, and then it would be too cool? And then they said global cool. They didn't know what the hell to say. So they came up with the greatest, climate change. No matter what, if it goes up, if it goes down, climate change. They're very, very smart people, but not smart for us. They're smart for them. But my policy was very simple. Drill, baby, drill. We're drilling like crazy right now. And to curb inflation, we've slashed the size of government for the first time in years, and we're waging total war on waste, fraud, and abuse like we've never done before. Since January, 100,000 bureaucrats have left the federal payroll. Government spending is down 2.5% this quarter compared to 1 year ago. Think of that. And in stark contrast to last administration, 100% of all new jobs created in America under my administration have been created in the private sector. 100% of the jobs have come from the private sector. Otherwise, you don't have a country. I mean, I love government workers, but if you have all government workers, you don't have a country, do you? At the same time, my tariffs are bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars and are helping slash the deficit this year by more than 50%. Did you see the numbers? We're going to be down 50%, anywhere from 25 to 50, but closer to 50%. Who would think that one? Those are big numbers. Now, take that out 2 or 3 years. To embrace a vital industry here in Miami, I've also signed historic executive orders to end the federal government's war on crypto. Crypto was under siege. It's not under siege anymore because it's a big industry. It's a big industry, and I have a lot of people that are great people, great business people. They're in other businesses, but they're in crypto too. And it takes a lot of the pressure off the dollar. It does a lot of good things, but we're into it. Biden was vicious on crypto. They were going after these crypto guys. It was terrible. They were under indictment, but I got indicted too. I made a phone call. Congratulations on your victory. He made a phone call. Let's indict him. These people are the worst. Then they say, he's gone after Comey. They indicted me. They impeached me. They did everything. It's unbelievable. Who the hell else could have taken that? Do you guys know anybody else that could have taken it? I don't think so. A lot of people say, you're the only one could have taken that. I don't know if that's true, but there aren't too many. We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. We're leading China by a lot. And don't forget, if we don't do the crypto properly, China wants to do it. They're starting it, but they want to do it. Other countries want to do it. If we don't do it, it's a big industry. We're honored to be joined today by a man who has been a true champion for many of these bold policies. He really has. He's been a great guy. He was a little late in his endorsement of me, I'll be honest with you. He endorsed me. You know, these guys that endorsed me after I won, I don't know. Sir, I'd like to endorse you. No, I won the election. Nah, he's a good man, actually. I've known him a long time. He's helped turn the area into one of the hottest markets in the country and one of the greatest cities in the world. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Please, Francis, come up, please.
You're never gonna let me forget that one, huh? Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a little shorter than you are. Oh, it's truly a great honor to be here with you. this afternoon and to have you here once again in the great city of Miami. Your leadership and your vision have shaped not only our nation, but also the future of our city. Miami's success today is rooted in the values that are deeply American: opportunity, freedom, safety, and innovation. These are values that you have championed with conviction, and they are the same values that have made Miami a symbol of what's possible. When people believe in the promise of America, Mr. President, I want to personally thank you for your continued support of our vision for this city. It was an honor to stand beside you in the Oval Office when you announced the next year's G20 right here in the city of Miami. Thank you for choosing our city to host what is perhaps the most important and consequential gathering of leaders from around the world. Miami has come a long way, and we will rise to the occasion, Mr. President. On behalf of the people of Miami, it is my privilege and honor here, on behalf of my wife, the America Business Forum, Nacho, Sergio, and everyone, to give you like real estate, right?
I do.
Yeah. This is a key that opens some really nice presidential library real estate.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Francis. I appreciate it. And you know, he's really a special guy. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the White House, and then I'm going to move it to Doral in about 3.5 years. We put it right in Doral, right? In the lobby of Doral. A lot of people from Doral. Well, thank you. That's a great honor. I also want to thank a man who's been unbelievable in terms of Israel and so many other things. You know, he was a great real estate developer, but he had a great personality. And you need a personality for this. And I said, he's just as good as there is, and he's done so well. And you look at what's happened with Israel. We have peace in the Middle East. Can you believe it? Peace in the Middle East. And he's special envoy Steve Witkoff. Steve, where are you, Steve? Wherever you may be. Where are you? Steve, thank you. What a job you've done. Thank you very much. What a job he's done. That guy's got that personality. Now, I wanted a deal maker, but, you know, a lot of deal makers don't have good personalities. You end up in a war. They make the deal, but you end up in a war. This guy, everybody loved him for years. I've known it. And he was the right guy for the job. Peace in the Middle East. 3,000 years. They've never had peace in the Middle East. We're going to have it, too. We're doing well. Just keeps going along. And we just had a meeting. It's even more and more so. And so many people in this room are very much into Israel and the Middle East. And it's been amazing what we've been able to do. And you've done such a big part of it, along with a very special young genius named Jared Kushner, who helped you so much. Stand up, Jared. And he's the father of the Abraham Accords, right? He's the father of the Abraham Accords. And by the way, my granddaughter, Arabella, would you stand up, Arabella? She looks so great. I said, how are your marks in school, Arabella? Grandpa, I have all A's and A+, you know that. Like it was a stupid question I asked her, right? We're proud of you, Arabella. Jared, thank you. What a great job. But we have a lot of people joining now the Abraham Accords. And hopefully we're going to get Saudi Arabia very soon. But I'm not saying that. I'm not lobbying. No, but we have a lot of people. We have a lot of people that are coming aboard. You know, the key was when we took out the nuclear capability of Iran, all of a sudden everybody said, wow, that was nice. They've been wanting to do that for 20 years. Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the United States, Princess Rima, thank you very much. Please stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Say hello to everybody. Okay? Say hello to a great group of people in Saudi Arabia. Thank you. Stephen Miner, Mayor of Miami Beach. Stephen Miner. Where is Stephen? Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Good job you're doing. Excellent. Thank you, Stephen. The Mayor of Coral Gables, Vince Lego. Vince Lego. Thank you. Thank you. Great job, Vince. The Mayor of Doral. I love Doral. And I like this woman a lot. Christy Fraga. Christy. Where's Christy? Thank you, Christy. I like Doral. We also have Commissioners Damian Pardo, Laura Dominguez, Ralph Rosado, Miami-Dade Supervisor of Elections, Alina Garcia, the President of FIFA, Gianni Infantino. FIFA, where's Johnny? Whoa, Johnny, my boy. I didn't know he was going to be here. He's big stuff. And the world, look, you know, Johnny and I worked the deal originally, and it looked like I wasn't going to be president because it was in this term, right? So when they rigged the election, I said, oh, man, I have to run again because I want to be president when they have the World Cup, right? And look what happens, Johnny. I'm president when we have the World Cup. It wasn't supposed to be that way. But I can only tell you that the tickets are selling at numbers and record like they've never sold ever before. I heard you just told me that they're doing record business, right? We had the World Cup coming. Think of it, we have the World Cup coming, we have 250 coming, and we have the Olympics. 250 is 250 years of age. And we have UFC at the White House, by the way, on June 14th. That's going to be at the White House. That's going to be a tough ticket. That's UFC, but we have, think of it, Johnny is there with FIFA, and we have the Olympics. We have it all coming. It's all this thing. I'm glad I'm sort of happy the way things worked out, you know? It's turned out to be as good as it could be. I think we've made more progress than we ever could have made in the second term. I think this is really more progress being made. We also have Formula One CEO Stefano Domenicali, and where's Stefano? Very good. That's big stuff. We have a lot of big people here today. We also have a gentleman who called my election successfully. He said, and Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. Got a great voice. Brett Baer. Where's Brett Baer? Brett Baer. Where is he? And his son is with him, Paul. Paul's a very good golfer, so is Brett. Thank you, Brett. He's doing an interview with me right after the... Oh, is that Paul? Stand up, Paul. Paul, did we take your father easily in golf? Tell me, huh? That was easy, right? Get ready. We'll do it again. Thank you very much, Paul. You look great. Also, I want to thank your two great senators, Ashley Moody and Rick Scott. And, you know, I just left them. Believe it or not, I had a meeting with all the senators this morning. I gave them my vision because, frankly, it's always nice to have good vision. And they are two terrific senators, and they're in Washington working hard, and they were going to come. And I said, do me a favor, stay back and work on the things you're working on. They're working on really things. And Ashley is in the election. Rick just won his election. They're two great senators that you have right here in Florida. So that's really good. And they're working to make America great again. So I said, stay back in Washington. Together with many of the people here today, we've achieved more in 9 months than most administrations achieve in 8 years. It's true. We've really done a lot. We inherited the worst border in history, and within a matter of weeks, we turned it into the strongest border anywhere in the world, and they have some pretty strong borders, but we have literally no people coming through. They do come in. They come in legally. You know, we want people to come in. We want to make it real easy for them, actually, but they come in legally. So you have to know that. We just don't want criminals coming in. We don't want people from prisons. We don't want prisons dumped into our country like Venezuela did. They emptied their prisons into our country. We don't want that, right? For months in a row, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States. 0. They actually announced it. This is an official 0. Remember when Biden said, I have no control over the border? Millions of people pouring through, not people that you could look at them, not that we discriminate. You could look at them and say, these are not going to be perfect for our country. They were rough people that they let in. They had 11,888 murderers, 50% of which murdered more than one people. We don't want them. We're getting a lot of them out. Hopefully we're going to soon have all of them the hell out of here. Either out of here or we have to put them in jail because they're so dangerous. Some are so dangerous we don't want to bring them out. We'll just make sure they never come back in. But this is what they were putting in our country, and it's a disgrace. On day one, I signed an executive order to designate the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We had a big, strong, positive number come out just recently. The drugs coming into our country are way down. I'll tell you where they're really way down is drugs coming in through water. People are saying, no thanks. I don't think I want to ride in that boat today, please. We want you to take these drugs into the United States. You know what? I think I'll take a pass, sir. The drugs coming in by border are not much. Every boat that we hit kills, think of this, if it gets through, kills 25,000 Americans plus, but 25,000 Americans. Every time we hit a boat, we save 25,000 lives. Got to look at it that way. And we're arresting and removing thousands and thousands of dangerous gang members, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, all these gang members are being thrown the hell out of our country. And if you look at Washington, D.C., it's now a safe community. We're in Memphis now, and within 2 weeks, all of a sudden, it's like a safe community. It's really made unbelievable progress. And we're blowing up cartel terrorists. We're blowing them up linked to the Maduro regime in Venezuela and others. Look, it's not just Venezuela. But a lot of things are coming in. Look, Venezuela emptied their prisons into our country. Nobody wants that. They emptied their prisons into our country. We're liberating our cities from the scourge of violent crime, making our country safe and beautiful again. We're starting in our capital, Washington, D.C., which right now you can walk through the middle of Washington. You have no problem. 6 months ago, that wasn't the case. 1 year ago, it was a disaster. But law enforcement, our military has done an incredible job, actually. It's a safe, very, very safe city again. And it's been beautified. We're putting new medians in. We're covering the roads with nice, clean, beautiful asphalt. We're redoing the grass in the parks. It's really becoming beautiful again, and it's safe. We don't get calls that, think of it, call to the parents, your son, sir, has been killed. He came to see the Lincoln Memorial, and he's dead. No, that's not happening anymore. We run it tough. We run it very tough. Sometimes you have to be a little tough to get rid of. These are thugs. These are bad people. We're bringing them the hell out of our country where they came from. We renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. And well, if you think about it, after the Second World War, they changed it to defense, right? So we won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything in between and everything before, never lost a war. We still don't lose wars. Sometimes we don't fight to win. You know, we'll stay around the country for 15 years, just bomb the hell out of everybody, make everybody miserable. Nobody knows why we're there, you know, the wars that never end. But we made it clear that the days of political correctness in our military, they're over. We don't want to get into wars. I rebuilt the military. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We make the best equipment, the best missiles, the best rockets, the best everything. We redid our nuclear. We're the #1 nuclear power, which I hate to admit because it's so horrible. It's such a horrible situation if it ever has to be used. Russia's second. China's a distant third, but they'll catch us within 4 or 5 years. They want to catch us, and they'll be able to catch us. And we're maybe working on a plan to denuclearize the three of us, so we'll see if that works. But we have the strongest military anywhere in the world by far. We're investing $1 trillion in the United States Armed Forces this year. It's the biggest amount we've ever invested, and the spirit of service members is soaring like never before. We used to have recruiting shortages a year ago. You remember, you couldn't get people to join our military all around the world. You couldn't get them to rejoin. You just couldn't, no matter what you do. That we were way short. Now you can't get into our military. The waiting list, you have waiting lists to get into our military because we have spirit in our country. And all around the world, America is making peace, and we're really making peace through strength because they know they're not going to mess around with us. Nobody's going to mess around with us. You saw what happened. We made a deal with China last week, and we made a deal with Japan last week. We made a deal with Malaysia. They helped us so much. All great economic deals, all great. Great for everybody. In 8 months, I ended 8 wars, including Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda. That was going on for a long time. Pakistan and India. You know, I was in the midst of a trade deal with both of them. And then I read on the front page of a certain newspaper, I said, I don't know, mention the newspaper because it's usually fake news, but I heard they're going to war. 8 planes, 7 planes were shot down. An 8th was really badly wounded, but 8 planes were shot down, essentially. And I said, this is war. And they were going at it. And they're 2 nuclear nations. I said, I'm not going to make any trade deals with you guys unless you agree to peace. No way, this has nothing to do. I said, it has everything to do. Your nuclear powers. I'm not trading with you. We're not making any deals with you if you're at war with each other. A day later, I get a call. We made peace. They stopped. I said, thank you, let's trade. Isn't that great? Tariffs did that. You know what? Tariffs. Without tariffs, that would have never happened. Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, and Cambodia and Thailand. All of them were in war, starting war. Some of the wars were 32 years old. One was 38 years old. Amazing. They tried to, President Putin, I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, and he said, on the one, he said, we've been trying to settle that war for 10 years. We weren't able to do it. You got to settle. I got some of these things settled in an hour. No help from the United Nations at all. The only thing I got from them was a blank teleprompter. Remember I went up there, Princess? Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, I'm looking at the teleprompters, and I have all my friends, including your family, sitting out there, 158 leaders, some in beautiful silk white robes, others in bad shirts, bad ties, and some in beautiful shirts and ties. But they're all the leaders, 158 leaders. And they're saying, President, and I'm walking up to the President Donald J. Trump, and I'm looking at the teleprompter, stone cold blank. They did it on purpose. And I think I gave my best speech. That's what I was told. But it still wasn't a great feeling. I'm walking up very slowly. You know, I'm 20 feet. I'm trying to walk slowly because I see it's not working. They're dead. They did it on purpose. But it worked out okay. Not great people. Most important of all, for 4 weeks ago, and this is very important, we brokered the historic peace deal that ended the war in Gaza. And it's a serious end, too. You know, I read a lot of people, oh, it's very tenuous. Jared and Steve, I don't think it's tenuous. Do you? I hope it isn't, because otherwise I'll have to cross it off. I'll have to say I only ended 7. But that was a tough one, right? That was a tough one. But there's nothing tenuous about it. It's a serious end. Gaza has been a disaster for so many years, and I think it's an end. I think you're going to see some tremendous things happening. We just had a meeting just before I got up, and some great things are happening. And with Israel and peace in the Middle East, it's amazing, actually, what they've done. And what you two guys have done have been incredible. True. On day 1 of my administration, I signed an executive order to slash federal funding for any school that pushes critical race theory or transgender insanity on our youth. And we completely banned the chemical and surgical mutilation of our children. Think of that. Can you imagine somebody 15 years ago saying we stopped the surgical mutilation of our children? We stopped the chemical mutilation of our children. Can you imagine that? They would have said, this guy's crazy. And now you're saying, thank you very much, because you know it's true. How about this one? We got men out of women's sports. It's over. It's over. Men out of women's sport. They had a race here, the long distance, a super, I don't know what the hell, a race, one of these all-day races. They had the top women, the top men. The man won by 5 hours and 18 seconds, okay? What the hell? How about the weightlifting? 218 pounds by women. That's a lot to lift over your head, Rima. I don't know if you might be able to do it. 218 pounds or whatever was the record. A man beat the record by 100 pounds. It stood for like 17 years or something. A man beat the record by 100 pounds. He was a failed male weightlifter, but as a female, he did very well. That's a record that won't. This is a thing that stood. They'd put a quarter of an ounce and a quarter of an ounce on each end. 18 years the record stood. Then a guy comes along, ping, ping. This is crazy. These people are crazy. And Mandami, whatever the hell his name is in New York. No. He thinks it's wonderful to have men playing in women's sports. The swimming's good too, you know? You know the story? Records are being beaten by numbers that nobody's ever seen, nobody ever thought possible. But a lot of those records are being changed back to where they should be. And I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. And we're restoring the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, the beautiful Alaska mountain I renamed. Think of that. They took the name of McKinley. He was a great president. He was assassinated. He was a great president for tariffs. He was the tariff king, and he made our country very rich. And then Teddy Roosevelt spent the money on the Panama Canal and many other things. And everyone thinks Teddy was a great president. He was. But the one who built all that money was McKinley. So we renamed the mountain back to Mount McKinley. Is that okay? I think so. You know, I'll tell you what, who's happy about that is the great state of Ohio. He was governor of Ohio and became president, did a great job, made the country very rich. He was killed. Mount McKinley was named, and then the name was taken off. And we put it back on. And I renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That was an easy one. That was an easy one, Johnny. That was easy. You know, look, we have 92% of the show. I used to say when I was a child, I'd say, how come it's called the Gulf of Mexico? It's mostly America. You know, all the way, it wraps around Florida, all the way up. It's 92% of the shoreline. I said, I think to me it's the Gulf of America. Little did I know I'd have the chance to do it. I did it very quickly. For years, our country was run by radical scoundrels and far-left bureaucrats who created one catastrophe after another, wrecking our economy, erasing our borders, and surrendering America's power and standing all over the world. But after just 1 year since that glorious election, I'm thrilled to say that America is back. America is back. Bigger, better, stronger than ever. And in conclusion, jobs are returning, businesses are booming, and America is respected again, perhaps like never before. Our country is respected again like never. They were laughing at our country. We had a guy who couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, kept falling. It's very embarrassing. You know, at Air Force One, I go, sir, would you like the short stairs or the long? I say, give me the long every single time, please. The short ones, they call them the children's stairs. I don't want the children's stairs. Doesn't look so good coming out of the children's stairs. Now, if the weather's bad, it's okay, right? If you don't mind. But the communists, Marxists, socialists, and globalists had their chance, and they delivered nothing but disaster. And now let's see how a communist does in New York. We're going to see how that works out. And we'll help them. We'll help them. We want New York to be successful. We'll help them a little bit, maybe. For all of these failed and discredited, really discredited, if you think, ideologies of the past, their day is over, their grip is broken, and their time is absolutely done. The golden age of America has begun, and we are just getting started. It's a golden age like you've never seen before. From the steel mills of Pittsburgh to the oil wells of Houston, from the car plants of Detroit, and those car plants are pouring into our country, to the coal mines of West Virginia. Those coal mines are opening up one after another. Clean, beautiful coal. You're not allowed to use the word coal unless you say, in my administration, unless you use 2 words before it. Clean and beautiful. Biden would say, unless you use 2 words before it, here you go, clean. He said, what happened to the other word? Remember those things? He'd say 3 words and mean 2. But the West Virginia mines are doing unbelievable now. Wyoming is doing unbelievable. It's clean, beautiful coal. And from the bright lights of Las Vegas to right here in beautiful Miami, America is proud. America is confident. America is growing and successful. America is a great nation again. We're a great nation again. It's happened faster than I thought. I'll be honest again. We're respected by everybody. We are really, you see the way I get treated. I get treated that way. I guess a little has to do with me, but a lot has to do with the fact that I'm representing this country. America is respected again. America is a great nation again. The American dream is surging back to life, and we will never let the American dream die. Together we will make our country stronger, richer, safer, freer, and greater than ever before. And every day my administration will fight, 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 and America will win, win, win. I want to thank you, Miami. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank everybody for being here. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. set a record. We have both the President of Finland and we have the Prime Minister of Finland, and that's never, I don't ever remember having a President and a Prime Minister, but that's a great honor, and thank you very much both for being here. And Alex, we've been friends for a long time, and I've heard wonderful things about your Prime Minister also, and we have a big order coming up. We're buying icebreakers. We're building them together for the most part. We're doing 4 over there and 7 over here. And we negotiated a pretty tough price, I think. But I assume you're going to do very well. But what you're doing is you're going to be teaching us about the icebreaker business very, very strong. We only have one icebreaker in all of that millions and millions of acres. We only have one icebreaker. And other countries have more than we do. And we're buying the finest icebreakers in the world, and Finland's known for making them. They sort of have almost a monopoly on icebreakers, if you think about it. Nobody makes them like Finland. I've heard that for a long time. So we're going to have a total of 11, and it's been really an honor working on it. It was very important. We were making them, but we didn't make them right. By the time we finish, we're going to make them maybe better than you, but at least as well. Probably not better, but at least as well. So I appreciate both of you being here. It's an honor to have both of you. Really tremendous reputations, and it's a great country. Thank you very much. Alex,
thank you, Mr. President. I mean, I remember our first conversation just after you had been elected in November. The first thing you mentioned was icebreakers. We need them, and then we've been working on this issue ever since. And we're happy to announce that we'll basically building 11 icebreakers together, 4 of them in Finland, in joint endeavors, and then 7 of them here. And I think the reason that we've landed in Finland is that 60% of the world's icebreakers are built in Finland. 80% are designed. We've been building them for over 100 years. And speaking of price and time, I think we're the country that can provide them half the price and half the time that others have it. And I think this is a huge strategic decision by the President as well, because we all know that the Arctic is important strategically, militarily, and in terms of the economy as well. And now we can work on this together. Finland is a strange country in the sense that we are probably the only country in the world where all the ports are frozen in the winter. And that's why we built the know-how in icebreakers. Now we can work on this together. And I remember the first conversation we had, you mentioned the fact that Russia has 40, and you need to start ramping this up. And this is an indication that we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. I also think that this strengthens our bilateral relations. I know I come from a small country, but for us to be able to work together with you is extremely important from a strategic perspective as well. So we appreciate the cooperation, and we're going to deliver the first one 2028. Good.
Just a little bit before a big event.
Yeah.
So, that's great. And actually, it's true. I came here and they were building an icebreaker and they had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea how much it was going to cost. They knew nothing. And we have our Secretary of the Navy right over here. We're working on a lot more than icebreakers. We're working on some very, very big and important ships. But they had no idea what they were doing. And I was with you, and I ended up meeting you and knowing you. And I heard about Finland and their icebreakers. And I said, do me a favor. Would you have your people take a look at what these people are doing? And it came out that, just as I thought, they had no idea what they were doing. And we got involved, and we ended up, we need these ships very badly because we have a lot of territory, more than anybody. And so I'm very honored to have this deal, and thank you very much. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great partnership. And it's a great honor to have you, Mr. Prime Minister. Would you like to say something, please?
First, Mr. President, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here today. And as a Prime Minister of Finland, I want to say that this deal it's very important to Finland and our economy, because our economy is suffering a lot because of Russian aggression in Ukraine. And this deal, it means investments, it means jobs, and jobs means hope. And that's why this is so important. And I want to thank your leadership on this deal and this issue. Thank you.
So you've been affected very badly by the war going on, the ridiculous war going on, right?
Yes, because we have to close the border with Russia. We have 1,300 kilometers common border with them, and affects the atmosphere in Finland, in investments, and that's why we need good news. Our people need hope.
Right. So your border is closed.
It's closed.
And that's because you have so many Russians trying to get in?
Yes, they started to push illegal migrants to our border. That's why we were forced to close it.
And people also that don't want to go into the military, I guess, trying to come through.
Yeah, some of them are escaping. Fortunately, on our side, we don't have that problem. In Finland,
No, you have a great military.
we have compulsory military service, and as I always say, we have 900,000 men and women who've done it, including myself and the Prime Minister. We have 200.
And you've been fighting Russia for a long time. So how many years have you been indirectly fighting Russia?
Well, put it
From
this
that.
way, we have managed our relationship since the 1300s with about 30 skirmishes, but it's been very peaceful at our border after World War II.
1300s.
Yeah, but it's been peaceful at our border since the Winter War and the War of Continuation. But, I mean, a lot of it is because we actually have a very large military. It's the biggest in Europe together with Turkey, Ukraine and Poland. We have over 60 F-18s. We just bought 64 F-35s. We'll roll out the first one in Texas in December. We have the biggest artillery in Europe together with Poland. And as I always say, we don't have it because we're worried about Stockholm.
Well, you really have proportionately, I think, the largest military in the world, proportionately.
It's quite big, yes, I have to admit. But, you know, we have it for defense purposes and also to build a deterrence. And it's worked, and I think that's one of the reasons that our relationship is so good as well. We have the Defense Cooperation Agreement with you. Right. We're new allies in NATO. Our defense expenditure is going north of 3%. We work very closely with you and the rest of our allies. And, you know, when you push the ceiling of defense expenditure in NATO to 5%, you can imagine that a country like Finland was quite pleased with that, because that means that all of the allies have to bring up their defense expenditure, and you basically increased our security just with that decision in The Hague. And I have to admit that having been to my first NATO summit in the summer of 2024, if someone would have told me that you will move from 2% to 5% after Trump enters, I would have said, go see your doctor. But, you know,
Well,
you
you
did
had to
it.
do it, and you were great about it. Spain has not been. Spain is the one that didn't do it. And so I think you people are going to have to start speaking to Spain. The only one that didn't do it, the only NATO country that didn't do it is Spain. And you'll figure what that's all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll work, and I think with the leadership also, Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, I think, you know, there are a lot of commitments that have to take place, and this, of course, is going to also increase industrial defense exchanges. I think we buy 4 times more military material here from the U.S., and I think it's an essential part of our whole military setup in Europe. And it's good to be working on this together. But there's one thing that I wanted to mention also. I want to congratulate you for what we have seen in the past 24 hours in Gaza.
Thank you.
I think it's a historic deal. I went through the 20 points. It's almost like the best of record. You really see all the key elements. And if someone would have said a few weeks back that you and your team are able to push us to a position where there will be a ceasefire, an exchange of prisoners, hostages, and then a pullback, I would not have believed it. But this is what diplomacy is at its best, and I think it's a potentially huge deal. So congratulations to you and your team.
Peace in the Middle East. That's
Peace in the
excellent.
Middle East, yeah.
And every country came together. Every single country came together, and people are shocked by it. But it's an amazing situation. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Thank you very much, and you've been of help too. You help always, but we are really working more closely together, having to do with Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that would have been easier, because that would be number 8 for me, number 8. And I would have thought the Russia deal maybe would have been one of the easier ones. And unfortunately, last week they had over 7,000 soldiers die unnecessarily. So it's a terrible thing, but I think we'll be getting there hopefully soon.
Yeah, probably we'll go, I mean, or you will be going piece by piece. I mean, there are only so many agreements that you can get done, and I think this one will be the next big one. Now, of course, this one needs to stick, and I'm sure it will, because the incentives are all there, and then we'll continue to work. I mean, the last time I was here in the Oval Office was with the other European leaders in August, and I think we did a lot of good advancement there on security arrangements. I think you pushed us Europeans hard not to buy oil and gas from Russia, which I think is a very correct decision. Europe just put down its 19th sanctions package. I think Russia is actually right now, both economically and militarily, not in a very strong place. And I think it's because of the commitments that we've made to Ukraine. So, day by day on this one.
Yeah, we're going to get it worked out. Questions, please?
President, question for President Stubb. You have time and again said that one should not underestimate Mr. Trump's negotiating ability. Do you personally believe that Mr. Trump deserves to win the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Well, I think that's probably a decision that comes from the Nobel Committee. And my take is that there are two key pieces that have to be solved in the big picture. One is in the Middle East, and we're seeing the results of that. And then the other one is between Russia and Ukraine. And once those are solved, I don't see any impediments to it.
Plans to nominate Mr. Trump next year if he doesn't win?
This year? I think probably the best nomination would be coming from Zelensky and then the King of Jordan. Those would be two that would come. But I think you have to, my experience with the Nobel Peace Prize comes from Martti Ahtisaari, the former president of Finland. He got it in 2008, and he got it because he negotiated 3 peace agreements on 3 different continents. Namibia in Africa, Kosovo, Serbia in Europe, and then Aceh in Indonesia. And his message was always that when you do a peace agreement, the key is that it looks like an equal match, that the big guy doesn't win over the small guy, and vice versa. But I have to say that the track record of the President of the United States in the past 7 months, 8 months is rather impressive.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. First of all, thank you, all of you, in behalf of the State of Israel, for everything that you're doing for my country. I want to know, how do you see the Middle East in a year from now under your leadership? And if you see maybe option for normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia?
I think it's going to be great. I think it's the hostages will be coming back Monday or Tuesday. I'll probably be there. I hope to be there, and we're planning on leaving sometime Sunday, and I look forward to it. And everybody I see is celebrating in Israel, but they're celebrating in many other countries too. A lot of the Muslim and Arab countries, they're celebrating. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody loves the deal. So it's a great honor to have been working on it. And as you know, it's all finalized and done. We've had a lot of terrifically talented people. We've had tremendous support from UAE, Saudi Arabia. Qatar has been unbelievable. Egypt, as you know, and Jordan. Indonesia. It's I don't want to leave anybody out. Just so many different countries. It's been incredible. Nobody's seen anything like it. So I think in a year from now, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great.
Mr. President, how do you rate your chances of winning the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. Look, I made 7 deals, and now it's 8. Solved the wars, one going for 31 years, one going 34 years, one going 35 years, one going 10 years. I made 7 deals. This would be number 8. The one I thought that I was going to make, and I think we will probably, is because it's a ridiculous war. It's a horrible war. The worst since World War II. If you look at the people doing is Russia, Ukraine. I think we'll do that too. We've a lot of reasons for them to do it, and I think they'll be coming to the table pretty soon. But this is the biggest of them all. This is a big one. Although I think India and Pakistan is very big. 2 nuclear nations. I did that based on trade and because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, you wouldn't have been able to do it. But I said, if you guys are going to fight, I'm putting 100% tariffs on each of you. And they immediately stopped fighting. And that was going to go nuclear. That was back and forth. So I know one thing. I don't know what they're going to do, really. But I know this, that nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars. So that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives. And that's the thing that bothers me so much about the Russia-Ukraine. 7,000 people are dying a week. young soldiers. They're almost all soldiers of Ukraine and Russia. So in theory, it doesn't affect us, no, but it's a terrible thing. And we'll get that solved too. But nobody has ever done 8 wars. Nobody's done 8 wars in 30 years, let alone 9 months.
Are you going to step up the pressure? Are you going to step up the pressure for a Ukraine deal?
Yeah, we are stepping up the pressure. We're stepping it up together. We're all stepping it up. NATO's been great. The leader of NATO, as you know, Mark, has been fantastic, I think. And he's a fantastic guy. And they are stepping it up. And we're selling a lot of weapons to NATO. And that's going, I guess, to Ukraine for the most part. That's up to them. But they're buying weapons from the U.S. We make the greatest weapons in the world. You buy our planes and a lot of our equipment. And you have a big force, actually. You have a tremendous force of equipment. So I think we'll get that one done too, yeah.
Mr. President Obama got it for way less.
I want to finish, maybe.
Mr. President, I'm from Finland. Mr. President, I'm from Finland. Am I okay?
He's all right.
You're from you look great. Go ahead.
President, you are buying icebreakers from Finland.
Yeah.
But what if Russia and Vladimir Putin attacks Finland? Would you defend Finland?
I would. Yes, I would. They're a member of NATO. I would. They're great people, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to do that. I think the chances of that are very, very small. But it's very interesting because you have a very big military relative to your size. You have a very powerful military, one of the best. And but certainly we will be there to help.
Thank you.
Okay, please.
Mr. President, thank you. We have a big border, as our president said. How would you exactly defend Finland? And yeah, thank you.
Say what?
How would you defend Finland?
Vigorously.
Can I just add on that? We're very pleased with the fact that we have so much training going on with American soldiers right now. So they're getting experience from Arctic conditions. And we're integrating our militaries together, working not only through the DCA agreement, but other ways as well. We see that day to day in the work that we do, and it's working well.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Finland too.
Only Finns here.
You have a lot of.
Yeah, a lot of Finns.
It's very impressive.
So, Mr.
I like them better than our reporters.
So how do you see the situation in the Arctic developing? Are there going to be any mutual plans for Finland and U.S.?
Well, we will. I mean, we have a lot of relationships together. I mean, mostly buying our military equipment. They buy a lot of it. They have an order, I guess, 60 planes, 64 F-35s, and many other things too. It's a big order. Big countries don't order that many planes. You know, it's
10 billion.
You have a lot of aircraft, a lot of great military. We make the best military equipment. They buy a lot from us, so it's very good. We're going to work together very closely with Finland and with NATO. We have a very good relationship. As you know, I requested that they pay 5%, not 2%, and most people thought that was not going to happen, and it happened virtually unanimously. We had one laggard. It was Spain. Spain. You have to call them and find why are they a laggard, and they're doing well too. You know, the funny thing, because of a lot of the things we've done, they're doing fine. They have no excuse not to do this, but that's all right. Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly. Please, go ahead.
What are you planning to do with
Tall
that?
gentleman, nice tall gentleman, go ahead with a yellow shirt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to change gears really quickly and ask you, you're going to Walter Reed tomorrow? What are you having done, and how are you feeling?
I'm meeting with the troops, and I'm also going to do a sort of semi-annual physical, which I do, and I think I'm in great shape, but I'll let you know. But I have no difficulty thus far. Is there wood around here? I'm not going to. No difficulty. Physically, I feel very good. Mentally, I feel very good. You know, I did about 6-7 months ago. I do physicals. I like to, when I'm around, I like to check always early. Always be early. It's a lesson for a lot of people. But I also did a cognitive exam, which is always very risky because if I didn't do well, you'd be the first to be blaring it. And I had a perfect score. and one of the doctors said he's almost never seen a perfect score. I had a perfect score. I got the highest score, and that made me feel good. When they asked, would I like to do one, I said, yeah. I said, did Obama do it? No. Did Bush do it? No. Did Biden do it? I definitely did. Biden wouldn't have gotten the first 3 questions right. No, Biden didn't do it. Biden should have done it. I'm actually a person that believes that if you're president, you should do a cognitive exam. But last time I took a cognitive exam, and it was a perfect score. The doctors announced it. And by the way, not the easiest test. The first few questions are pretty easy. Once you get into the middle, it gets a little trickier. And there aren't a lot of people in this room that would get every single question right, I can guarantee you.
You're putting me in a difficult spot. Next question.
Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for way less than you did, and President Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for way less.
For doing nothing.
Exactly.
Obama got a prize. He didn't even know what he got. He got elected, and they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country. No, he was not a good president. The worst president was Sleepy Joe Biden, but Obama was not a good president.
Are you going to do something with the
They
Hezbollah?
gave him a prize. How many months after he won the election, then they gave him the Peace Prize, right?
It was right after he was elected.
My election was a much more important election.
Now that you're fixing the situation between Hamas and Israel, are you going to be taking care of the Hezbollah or the Lebanese armed forces to take care of the Hezbollah?
Yeah, we'll be able to do that. That will be, it's a smaller part of the puzzle, but very important part. They have a great new ambassador that I appointed, Michelle. Great new ambassador. So yeah, please.
You're saying that the hostages will be released on Monday or Tuesday. What's your strict deadline? When do they have to get released?
Well,
and how do you make sure each party abides by it?
It's going to be around that time. Yeah, they're working on it very hard. They're in very diverse parts of the earth. Okay, they're very, very diverse. Actually, it's I think they're going to come through. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I think it'll happen.
Mr. President,
In the back.
Thank you, sir. The 19th point of the 20-point plan said that in the future there could be conditions in which the Palestinians might eventually get a state. Under what conditions do you think the Palestinians
Well,
will
we'll look at it at the time. We're going to see how it all goes. And, there's a point at which we may do something that would be a little bit different and maybe very positive for everybody. But we'll be looking at that at the time.
Mr. President.
And I think we'll get to that. I think we'll get to that period, too. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, Francis.
Thank you. Mr. President, the United States has previously said that that Europe would have to take more responsibility for its own security. Are you or the U.S. planning to withdraw some of the U.S. forces from the European soil?
No, but we may move some around a little bit. I'd ask you that question, Pete. Go ahead.
I think that's right, Mr. President. We're very much heartened by your leadership to get NATO to rise up to 5%, which means they can take primary responsibility for defense of the continent. But that doesn't mean America is abandoning NATO in Europe. But we could look at where our troops are postured, what makes the most sense for America and our NATO allies.
We have a lot of troops in Europe, as you know, a lot. And we can move them around a little bit. But no, basically we'll be pretty much set. Go ahead, what's your second?
My second question would be, are you planning to impose more sanctions on Russia at this point?
I might, yeah, I might.
Mr. President, your 20-point plan says we will encourage people to stay. Can you confirm that as Gaza is rebuilt, that no one will be forced to leave?
Yeah, nobody's going to be forced to leave. No, it's just the opposite. This is a great plan. This is a great peace plan. This is a plan that was supported by everybody. I mean, as I said, they're dancing in the streets of many, many countries right now. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. No, we're not looking to do that at all.
Mr. President, do you think that we can see a full withdrawal?
Mr. President, can you cut through the politics on the shutdown? We had another failed vote today. Can you speak to our viewers from Orlando to Sacramento? What's your message to some of these families tonight facing missed paychecks, potential layoffs, and missed benefits due to the shutdown?
Yeah, I blame the Democrats. They ought to call their local Democrat representative, whether it's a senator or a congressman, and it's their fault. I mean, they admit it's their fault. They campaigned on the fact that they'd never shut down the country, but they want to shut it down. And, we have the greatest economy. We're the hottest country in the world right now. I think you'd admit that. The hottest country. We went from a dead country a year ago to the hottest country in the world. So I think they probably don't like that. But we're doing great. I mean, we're doing great. I would say my message is call your local representative, congressman or senator, and tell them to get on the ball. The Democrats have caused this problem.
Can I ask one more question? Congressman
Yeah,
Randy
please.
Fine.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Where are you from?
I'm from Finland.
I love it. It's so nice. Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here
So-
we go with a killer question.
I would like to circle back to the icebreaker deal. So Finland and the U.S. are strengthening their economic partnership through the deal. What other areas of cooperation with Finland do you see as possible for at this
Good
moment?
question. We're going to be talking about that in a little while. We're going into the next door room, commonly known as the cabinet room, beautiful room, and we're going to be discussing that. But we'll be doing other things. It's a wonderful country with wonderful people. We've had a long-term relationship, but it's never been as close as it is now. We'll be doing other things. Go ahead.
I mean, we've been talking about a lot with the president. I mean, the two specific fields where I think Finland has strength. One is quantum and quantum computing, and we know that that is basically what gives food for thought for artificial intelligence. That's very important. The second one is actually networks. And you know that there are two sort of safe and trustworthy Western networks right now. One of them is Nokia. And the other one is Ericsson. And actually 70% of all broadband in the United States is Nokia. So one of the things that we could work on together is creating the 6G space through networks. And we actually, Nokia has 7,000 people working here in the United States and an American CEO.
Okay, anybody else?
Mr. President?
What is the international stabilization force that's going to deploy to Gaza? What is that going to look like?
To be determined, really I think there's going to be a large group of people determining what it will be, and a group of people funding it that are very rich countries are going to be funding it. People want to see this work. It's going to work. It's absolutely going to work. And it starts, it's already started. We've signed, as you know. Everybody's agreed. I think Monday is going to be a very big day, Monday, Tuesday, but it's going to be, depending on where you are, it's going to be a very big day. I think it's going to be a day of great celebration. I've never seen anything like it. The streets of so many countries right now, they're just roaring with love and with praise for the people that did this. And these are countries that did this. The whole world came together for this. Even Iran, and I really thank them for it. Iran came out and said this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. So it was terrific. It's been a terrific experience for me. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello, thank you very much. Are you all set? You all ready? Nice group, big group. But I want to thank you all for being here as we prepare to celebrate Labor Day, when we honor the incredible hardworking men and women of our country, which is doing very well, I have to tell you. Every policy of the Trump administration is designed to lift up the American worker, promote great-paying blue-collar jobs, and to rebuild the industrial bedrock of our nation. It's also obviously for great defense. We have the greatest military in the world. We rebuilt it largely in my first term. Some of it was stupidly given away to Afghanistan. For what reason? Nobody could figure that one. But it was still a relatively small amount of what, if you compare. The concept of what they did, however, is just incredible. But the country is doing well. We're respected all over the world like never before, probably. We went to NATO, as you know, and they went from 2% to 5% of GDP. Nobody expected that. And the difference is they didn't pay the 2 and they paid the 5. So, and as you know, we are selling a tremendous amount of equipment to NATO. We're not spending any money. We're making money, but I don't want to talk about making. I want to talk about we're no longer involved with funding Ukraine, but we are involved with trying to stop the war and the killing in Ukraine. So we're selling missiles and military equipment, millions and millions, and ultimately billions of dollars to the NATO people, where I'm very friendly and we have a great relationship, but that was an amazing trip. So they're funding the entire war. We're not funding anything. I think it's an important point to make because a lot of people don't understand that. And we will continue to do that, and we're trying to get as much as we can for them. They want the American product. The American military product is by far the best in the world, and that's what they want to get. They have lots of options, but that's what they want to get. So the factories are doubling up and tripling up where they make the Patriots and other really, you could say, defense and offensive weapons. The wages for blue-collar workers are now rising at the fastest rate in 60 years, which is so important to all of us around this table. The average American worker has already seen a $500 wage increase this year, and there's no inflation because there's been decreases, tremendous decreases, with thanks to Doug and Chris, and some of the people, the great job they've done with energy. Thank you very much. And Chris, thank you very much. I see you down close to $60 a barrel, and you'll be breaking that pretty soon. And that has a huge impact. So we have groceries are down. Energy is way down. Energy is way down. It was $4 and $5 for a gallon of gas. Think of that for gasoline. And now it's probably $2.25. There are some places it's $2. It broke $2 at a couple of locations in the South. In places like California where they charge such high taxes, it's higher, but it's still much lower than what it was a year ago. So energy's way down, groceries are way down, eggs are way down. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. You've done a great job. Appreciate it. When we came in, the eggs were through the roof. They were 4 times higher than they've ever been. And my first question from you people were, what are you going to do with eggs? I said, what's the problem with eggs? That was caused by Biden, or whoever was operating the auto pen actually caused it, I guess, because I don't think he knew too much about eggs. Factories are booming compared to before I took office. Domestic auto production is going to be, it's going to be so thrilling in 2 years when you see the numbers, because they're building plants all over the country. They're all coming in because of tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs. And if they build their plant here, they don't pay the tariffs. And they're pouring into our country, and you know about AI and you know about but the auto plants, that's the good old-fashioned stuff that I love. The auto plants are pouring into the United States of America. They're coming from Mexico, they're coming from Canada, and they're coming from Europe, all over Europe. And it's been pretty amazing. So factories are booming. And when they actually open, right now they're booming in terms of construction. This is something given to me by Mark Zuckerberg. And you'll see this is AI now. I never understood. I said, well, because I built shopping centers, and for $50 million, you can build a very nice shopping center. So I never understood when they said $50 billion for a plant. I said, what the hell kind of a plant is that? But when you look at this, you understand why it's 50 billion. So this is one he's building in Louisiana. That's Meta, Facebook, as people understand it to be. But look at that. That's the size of Manhattan. So that's superimposed over the island of Manhattan. It takes up a big part of Manhattan. I think they say 81% of Manhattan. So these are big things, and they're going up. A lot of them are going up now. I don't know that big. Actually, Mark is building 4 of them, and others are building similar places. And when these things open up, I'll tell you what, our country, we're leading China now in AI, substantially leading China. And the reason is because we're letting them build their own electrical facilities. We would need double the energy if you take all of the electricity that we produce right now in this country, you'd have to multiply it times 2 or maybe 3 times. So 3 times more than we have right now for everything, to operate your toaster and everything else, okay? 3 times more. And the way we are able to succeed, because China goes out and builds these massive plants. They're right now building 58 coal, in this case, almost all coal-fired plants. And coal is back with this country too, by the way. There's a reason they use it, because it's good. It works for them. and we call it clean coal. We don't call it coal. We call it clean, even very clean coal. But we have coal going up. We have nuclear going up. Nuclear is very much in vogue now. It's safe and inexpensive and great. We don't allow windmills. We're not allowing any windmills to go up. I mean, unless there's a legal situation where somebody committed to it a long time ago, we don't allow windmills. And we don't want the solar panels that I was speaking with the secretary about, because they take up, you know, thousands of acres of our farmland. You see these big ugly patches of black plastic that comes from China. And the solar is, you know, I like solar in some ways, but for firing up your big plants, it doesn't work. It's very unstable, but it really takes up your farm. The farmers are saying, you know, they're building these massive blotches in the middle of the fields all over the country. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So we're not heavy into that at all. And windmills, we're just not going to allow them. They're ruining our country. They're ruining everyone. If you look at, I hate to mention countries, but you look at the UK, what's happened at UK, they have energy costs have gone through the roof. It's because of wind. They want to do everything, close up the northern parts of the country. They have oil. It's tremendous. And they closed it up, and they've been, I tell them, you're my friends, but man, you're going to have a bad awakening very soon. It's going to be very bad. They're ugly. They don't work. They kill your birds. They're bad for the environment. And if you look at them from a house, your house is worth less than 50%. So I'm trying to have people learn about wind real fast, and I think I've done a good job, but not good enough, because some countries are still trying, and they're destroying themselves. Those are countries that are really destroying themselves. I hope they get back to fossil fuel, because right now, Chris, whether we like it or not, fossil fuel is the thing that works, and then you can add nuclear with it and other things, but fossil fuel is what works if we're going to fire up those big monster factories. But if you look at comparing everything before I took office, domestic auto production is up 18,000 cars a month. And we haven't even started yet, because a lot of these plants aren't built. It's up 18,000 because Ford, General Motors, and a couple of others, Stellantis, they're taking their existing plants, and they're, as quickly as they can, they're adding on to them. So when their plants open, because they're building big, modern, beautiful auto plants. But think of that, we're up 18,000 cars a month, and essentially all they've done is try and utilize their space correctly as their big plants open up. It's going to be, I hope they remember that it was this way. I hope this table gets a lot of the credit for what's happening. It gets all of the credit, because this would have never happened. We were going out of business in every way. We were losing. All the car plants were leaving this country. Now they're all coming back in, and they are coming from Canada, and they are coming from Mexico, but they're coming from Germany. They're coming from all over the world. Domestic steel production is up by 100,000 tons of steel a week. We have a 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and various other things. Copper just got brought into the picture, and that means people are going to want to make steel here. We just made a deal with U.S. Steel. As you know, we have an outside company come in, spend $17 billion on building new plants, new everything. It's great, and it stays right here in America. So we're doing amazingly well on steel, and domestic oil production is up by more than 300,000 barrels a day. That's a lot of barrels, and you're going to be talking about that in a second, I think, Chris and Doug. These two people have done a fantastic job, and we have the oil price down to about $62 a barrel. So just so you understand, because a lot of you like to talk about costs and prices, but I watch so much fake information. Product costs are down. Energy is way down. Energy brings things down. You know, with energy, that's what happened with Biden. He stopped our program, and then he went back to it when he realized that it looked like you were going to be paying numbers that nobody's ever seen, like $7 a gallon. You're going to pay $7 a gallon. They were up to $7.50. So then he immediately went back to the Trump plan that they terminated, but it was too late for them. It was too late. They blew it. They had a great thing going. I gave them something great, and they blew it. Since the inauguration, we've created over 500,000 new private jobs. And if you notice, when the numbers come out, government jobs are going down and private jobs are coming up. And that's what really fuels the country. It's easy to hire people and pay them for doing something that maybe is not very productive. But government jobs are down, actually substantially down, and private jobs are way up. And these are the jobs that make money, create a better life. Meanwhile, we've reduced the number of federal bureaucrats by 84,000. So we got rid of 84,000, and I think the job numbers, you're going to see the new job numbers are going to be through the roof because of all of the different businesses that are moving into our country. And not just production businesses, autos and AI, but any business you can think of. In the world of furniture, as an example, North Carolina, I went there many times when I built a lot of hotels and things, and I'd go to North Carolina, I'd buy the greatest, they were the greatest, most talented people. And then China came along and took all of those jobs away. If they would have tariffed them, China wouldn't have taken any of the jobs. But we had presidents that, honestly, and I like some of them, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing from a business standpoint, from running the country. And North Carolina, the most talented woodworkers that you've ever seen. I'd be there and I'd watch them. I'd say, I'd like to have a rail on that chair. Maybe can you fancy it up a little bit? How about this, sir? And it'd hand me a thing. It was like they were artists. They were unbelievable. And that business was stolen from us by others, not only China, but by others. All of a sudden, you're ordering your furniture from China. It was not even close to being as good, but they couldn't compete with it. If we would have said it costs 100% or 200% tariff, you wouldn't have lost one job. It's so sad. But we're going to rebuild North Carolina furniture and other places, South Carolina too, to a lesser extent. They make furniture. But furniture, we're going to put a very substantial tariff on. We've already announced it. It'll be done pretty quickly. And when that happens, everyone's going to start. I just tell you, North Carolina, go out and start getting the grandchildren and the children, start teaching them, because some of those incredible artists that I knew as young people, they're older people now, but they still have the talent and they have time left, but they're going to be teaching their sons and their daughters and their grandchildren, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to see. It's going to happen like magic. It's going to happen without question. It's not like, gee, I hope it happens. It's going to happen. The results of Ford that just announced, it's going to create 4,000 new jobs, American jobs. Hyundai, 14,000 jobs. General Motors is moving production of the Chevy Blazer and Equinox from Mexico back to the United States where it belongs. Don't forget, we lost 55% of our auto production over the last 35 years. 55%. We were the auto capital of the world. Like there was nobody even think about challenging us. We lost 55% of it to Mexico, Canada, China, a lot to China, and other countries. And it's all coming back. We will be bigger. A couple of years, we'll be bigger than we ever were. We'll be more dominant. We'll be bigger. We make great product, too. We're starting to make really great product. We're going to be bigger than we ever were. We're going to be at the level that it was when we were the only one that really, we sold to the world. And we're going to be back selling to ourselves and other parts of the world. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be equally as important as it was in the heyday 30 years ago. But we lost more than 50% of the automaking capacity. In fact, the unions, the auto unions, as you know, the top guy didn't know me, didn't like me, and now he likes me. He says, man, I can't believe what Trump has done. But the auto workers voted for me. They understood better than anybody else. The auto workers, the Teamsters voted for me. Teamsters are great. They all voted for me. No Republican has ever gotten the support of the Teamsters and the auto workers. And now the head of the auto workers, I mean, it's so amazing. I watch them on television there. They can't even believe what happened. And I told them all what was going to happen. We secured new market access for American agricultural exports all over the world. Our secretary is doing a great job. Thank you, Brooke. And we have negotiated historic trade deals with the United Kingdom, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Japan, South Korea, who was here yesterday, and the European Union. Foreign nations are now paying hundreds of billions of dollars straight into our treasury. and numbers that nobody's ever seen before. As you know, we made trade deals with a lot of countries, and many of those countries, just to be able to sit at the table, are paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. We made a trade deal with the European Union. They were rough on us for a long time. And now we have a very good deal. We made that with them. Trillions of dollars is coming into our country. Trillions. Far beyond billions, trillions of dollars. Wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yes, sir.
And in a short period of time, they have to buy $750 billion worth of our energy product. Energy is great. We have more than anybody else, so we're using it. But the European Union is a done deal, and Japan is done. And, I heard there was a problem with South Korea, but we met yesterday, and they're done. We didn't do anything. We just kept the same deal. He honored the deal. They wanted to see if I don't even want to say it, but they wanted to see if they could do something. But they honored the deal, which is nice. And we cut the previous record-setting trade deficit, I hear just came out. We cut it in half already. We haven't even said, we've only been here really for a few months because, you know, it takes you a little while to fix up the Oval Office and do those things, prepare for the battle, right? So we really only been here for a very short period of time, and we cut the trade deficit in half. Is that right? That's fantastic. I didn't even think we were going to do that. And remember, these are things that are being built. These things are, you know, all these numbers up here, they're not open yet. When they open, you're going to see things happen in the United States that nobody's ever seen before, including our country in its heyday. And I had the greatest economy in the history of our country my first 4 years, despite COVID, which was a very unfortunate situation for the whole world. We did a great job with it, never got the credit for the job we did. Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever in politics or in the military, because it was almost a military procedure. But everybody, including Putin, said that Operation Warp Speed, what you did with that, nobody can believe it. And we did a great job, but it was a horrible, horrible pall over our country. We had a very dark cloud over the world. That was a very, very bad thing that came out of Wuhan, which I said it came out of Wuhan. That's where it came from. And China suffered greatly, but everybody did. But we did a good job with that, as good as you could possibly do, and we came back, and now we're stronger than ever before. If I didn't win this election, this country was gone. I'm telling you, economically it was gone. None of the things that we're talking about would have happened. The whole world was robbing us blind. Friend and foe. They were stealing our jobs, our money, our factories. They were stealing everything. We would have been a shell. We would have been a bankrupt, broken shell. And that's the way it is, but we're doing just the opposite. Stronger than we've ever been. Last month, in a landmark achievement, I also proudly signed the largest working class tax cuts in American history. So the bill that, I'm not going to use the term great, big, beautiful, that was good for getting it approved, but it's not good for explaining to people what it's all about. It's a massive tax cut for the middle class. It's a massive tax cut for jobs. And it's, I mean, think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. So seniors, I don't know how you can vote for anybody else. And, you know, just think of that, and no tax on overtime. So you work overtime, you don't have to pay tax on overtime. That's good. The Democrats don't know what they're going to do. So they have, like, this soundbite. You know, they have all these sound bites. They send it out. I don't know. Some guy sends out a word, and everybody uses it, including the fake news. Some of you are here right now. I'm looking at you. And it's death. They use the word death. No, it's actually life. It's almost like a newborn life. It's not death. That's their soundbite. The bill is death. It's not. We strengthen Social Security. We strengthen Medicare, Medicaid. The job we've done on Social Security is, if the Democrats got in, Social Security is over because the country's going to fail. There won't be any Social Security. And I made that pledge to you. We're going to take care of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and we're doing that in spades because the country is becoming so successful again. And it hasn't been this successful I think in the end, it will never have been this successful. I don't think it'll even be close with what's happening. Every American is seeing a tax cut as a result of the bill. The average police officer will keep an extra $1,000 a year at least in overtime, and the average waiter or waitress will keep nearly $2,000 extra in the fact that they would have had to pay that kind of money on tips. And I never realized that the government was so strong on that. But waitresses, waiters would tell me that the government would go after them. Like it was horrible. That's how it all started with me. It just was incredible. And the biggest thing was, again, the $4 trillion that they found. They said, well, that was nice. They should have announced it. I could have told them that. And I don't know. It should be simple. But a lot of people didn't understand it. Actually, a lot of good people didn't understand it. But now they're saying, you know, Trump was right. They've never seen anything like this. And I don't know what it is, Scott. They didn't understand what we were trying to explain to them was going to happen. Everybody's moving back to the United States because they don't want to pay a tax. If they're not here, they have to pay a tax. And it didn't seem that complicated, but it's working at a level that nobody can imagine. You know, this is working $4 trillion, but that's a big number. It's a number that nobody ever heard of before. But 4 trillion is exciting. But that's nothing compared to what's happening, because these places haven't even opened yet. Some of them haven't even started hiring yet. They're under construction. So it's construction jobs, but it's not the big number, and the big numbers, when they open, they're going to be very successful. It's a revolution. We're also working on things to ensure that the awesome power of artificial intelligence is used to benefit all Americans, including American workers and also American children. In that spirit, our wonderful First Lady has just announced a presidential AI challenge. It's going to be a very good challenge, I can tell you. She's put her heart into it, which will inspire the next generation to stay on the cutting edge of this vital technology. This is the new internet, the new computer, the new television, the new everything, all put together in one. This is why when I show you a picture like that, I mean, I show you this. This is a factory superimposed over the island of Manhattan, and you have many of them being built right now all over the country, or soon to start. Some of them have started. This one has actually started. That's in the great state of Louisiana. But the First Lady is working very hard on this, and it's an important initiative. And Melania, when she puts her mind to it, nobody could do better. There's nobody. So every young person should go to AI.gov to learn more, AI.gov to learn more. And you'll see it's a great challenge. I think it's going to be a very modern kind of a challenge. It involves AI, which is very exciting to people. So I want to thank her, raise a lot of money for children. We're putting America first, and we're going to be putting the American worker first. And, you know, the Republican Party has picked up 4 million new people, 4 million. The Democrats have lost 2.5 million. Other than that, they're extremely happy. No, they're very depressed. They're very depressed. And their new box that they've fallen into is crime. There was a consultant on one of the shows this morning I was watching. I thought he was very good. He's a Democrat consultant. And he was screaming, no, no, don't let him do this to you. Don't let, it's another trap. It's another trap. What he's talking about, like men playing in women's sports. They said that's an 80-20. No, it's a 97-3. It's 97-3. Like transgender for everybody. They fought for it. They're still fighting for it. I saw a guy today, a politician that you all know very well, fighting like hell for men playing in women's sports. You don't understand. They're human beings also. Well, I agree they're human beings. But you can't have a 7-foot guy playing basketball with the women. You know, just one of those little problems in life. And we all have our place. That's okay. I've got my place too. But this guy's screaming, it's another trap. And this is the worst of all. He said, because this is crime. Trump is saying he's against crime and they're for crime. No, he's going, It was funny. No, it's a trap. Don't do it. And then I saw this poor, stupid Chuck Schumer, the guy. He looks like he's aged 100 years. And I don't like getting into looks. You know, looks don't mean anything, right? When you're in politics, looks don't matter. I look at Pam, I would never say she's beautiful because that'd be the end of my political career. Laurie, secretary. But I will tell you, this is the best of all. And they're going to fight me. Like this slob of a governor you have in Illinois, this poor guy got thrown out of his business by his family. I know the family. I was partners with the family. Nice family. I like the family, but he was no good. They threw him out. He's governor of Illinois, and he goes about Trump, we don't need his help. Chicago is the worst. These places are really bad. Crime in D.C. was the worst it ever was. You know, they make up stories. Crime in D.C. was the worst ever in history. And now, over the last 13 days, we've worked so hard, and we've taken so many, there are many left, but we've taken so many criminals, over 1,000. I watched a man from Maryland who said to me, I mean, sir, you're the greatest president. You're doing an unbelievable job. What a great job. Governor Moore, has anyone heard of him? He's another hopeful for president. I don't think so. But I met him, and I didn't realize it was on camera. Did you see they caught him on camera? I was at a game, I don't know, like the Army-Navy game or something, and I met him in a hallway. And as usual, you do your job very well. One of these great cameramen had it on tape. But I met this gentleman. I never met him before. Sir, you're doing a great job. You're doing an unbelievable job. Thank you very much. But then he goes on television and says, oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator. And a lot of people have heard. So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, you know, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime. And you would think that Illinois would have such a problem with crime, such a bad governor. He should be calling me, and he should be saying, could you send over the troops, please? It's out of control. It's out of control. In New York, it's out of control. Not as bad as Illinois, by the way. Not even close. In California, you would have not had the Olympics had I not sent in the troops, sent in the National Guard. They did a fantastic job. We have the Olympics, we have the World Cup coming. I got them in my first term, and I was really sad because I said, oh boy, I got them, and I won't be president. And little things happen. Thank you, God. Thank you. Little things happen. Think of it. You could ask Johnny. Johnny would tell you, he's the head of World Cup. He's a great guy, too, great commissioner. But he's the head of the World Cup. He said, Trump is the only reason we're doing this. And the sad part is that I was not going to have it. I would have to be, probably I wouldn't have even been invited to the game, depending on who's president, right? And I got that. I did not get 250, okay? The 250th anniversary, I did not get. I'd like to claim it, if I might, but I didn't get that. That was whether I was president or not, it was still 250. I'd like to take credit for it. What I will take credit for is we're going to have a better celebration under Trump than you would have had under some stuff. That I'll take care of. We're going to have a safer place, Christy, because of you and Tom Homan and everybody, right? But, so we have 250 coming up. We have the World Cup coming up, which is like having 45 Super Bowls. And we have the Olympics coming up. So we're going to have a very exciting 3.5 years remaining. We're going to have a very exciting, it's going to be done properly. So I just want to tell you, our country's in incredible shape. Our military is strong and powerful and respected. We had some fantastic decisions from the Supreme Court that let us put the people into the military and other businesses that are best for the job, as opposed to some woke reason that was killing our country. That was a very strong, very powerful. You can now go into a company based on your ability, as opposed to being forced in based on some factor that cannot make our country great. That was a big decision, very, very big decision. And we've had a lot of great decisions, and we've all made some great decisions sitting around this table. I want to thank Scott. Unbelievable what's happening financially with you and Howard. And Vice President's involved in everything, and he's been great. And Marco has been really, I think you're born for this job. I don't think you should ever run for another office. I don't think you should, really. You're so good at this. He is so good. And everybody likes him, everybody likes him. But everybody, much more importantly than like, I think you would say, is respect. They respect Marco. They respect all the people around the table. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to go around the table. You seem to like it. Your audience seems to like it based on ratings. And I want to mention, about crime, because we have a young lady here, Iris, of Epoch Times. You're Iris, aren't you, huh? Yes. And I heard you were very savagely mugged in the city, and we're not going to let that happen under this administration. That was last year. And would you like to mention what happened?
Of course. So first of all, thank you, Mr. President.
Do you want to listen to this?
For having me here to share my story to the room and to the broader public. My name is Iris Tao. I'm a White House correspondent for NTD, the sister media of the Epoch Times. So more than 2 years ago, it was a Saturday morning in broad daylight. I was on my way to work, and a young man with a black ski mask pointed a gun at my face and threatened me to hand over my phone, my wallet, my laptop, and everything else. And when I refused, he used the butt of his handgun to strike me across the face, in the cheek, or what some people call pistol whip me, before running away. And that has deeply traumatized myself and my family. Ever since, I've never dared to walk in the street of DC at night, ever. And my family was extremely worried. So, Mr. President, thank you so much for what you're doing right now, because
being honest.
Such incidents involved not just me, but also my family. If he had shot me, I could have died right there in the middle of nowhere without my families or my friends knowing, at the age of back then, I think 23, just starting my career here in DC without even starting a family. But now I'm very blessed to have this opportunity to.
So you had a gun pointed at your head, and you probably figured that he's going to pull the trigger, because these are animals that don't know what the hell, they couldn't care less. The pulling the trigger to him is a very minor event, and I'm sure he's done it before. So how did you, and you did refuse to give it, which would probably, maybe somebody would say that was not the right decision, right?
Right.
But you refused, but I understand that. So, and then he hit you real hard.
Yes.
It's really amazing that you weren't shot, though.
I'm very blessed, and that's why having this opportunity to stand here to share my story today. One, I'm very grateful for God for allowing me to still survive to this day, but also to Mr. President. Thank you for now making DC safer for us, for our families, for my parents, on my behalf of my parents, and now my baby on the way. Thank you so much.
And there are other reporters and journalists, good people, and you don't have to say it, but that have also been attacked violently. And not violently, too, pretty badly. But, and I bet you see a big difference in the streets right now. And this is only 12 days, but people are telling me they're going out to dinner now. They haven't, I told my friend, but I have a lot of friends that are going out to dinner all the time now in DC, and they weren't doing it 12 days ago. They would never even think. One of my friends went out 5 times. It was 4 times the last time I told. Now it's 5 times. He said, I love going out to dinner, and restaurants are starting to open again. A lot of them closed because, nobody wanted to go into a restaurant. Nobody wanted to get to a restaurant or even sit in the restaurant. But you see a big difference now, don't you?
I do. I do pass by Union Station every day on my way home, and I do feel a lot safer seeing the trucks right outside, seeing the National Guard troops members right outside. It does make me feel like I'm hopeful about DC again, and one day hopefully we can raise our family here.
Thank you very much. It's nice, and those are tough troops too. Those are not politically correct troops. We don't have politically correct anymore. We have tough guys, tough people, including some tough women. But we have tough people, and when you look at them, I tell you, they showed one scene where a bunch of Tren-de-Aragua guys, or whatever, maybe MS-13, maybe MSDNC, okay? Because to me, they're worse. I think they're worse. MSNBC maybe is worse than Tren de Aragua. Real scum, real dishonest people. But anyway, they went into this gang, I think it was Tren de Aragua, Venezuela, and they weren't nice to this group of people. The gang was calling them sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. You're no good. Get out of here. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. These are people that beat up people all day long. And they're calling these soldiers, that's what they are. They're real soldiers. There's no games. I said, you don't have to be politically correct. And you know the way they used to spit in the face of the soldiers, with the soldiers standing like this, and you'd have some guy or some woman sometimes screaming at them from 1 inch away. They're standing there, and they're told you cannot do anything, and they start spitting, actually spitting in their face. And I said, you spit, we hit. And they're totally authorized to do that, all of those things. But your story is great, and there are other stories here, but they don't have to tell them. But some people are ashamed to tell them. They don't want to tell them. But it was like a jungle, and it's not a jungle anymore. And it's going to get so good that this will be the safest capital there is. It'll be one of the safest places in our nation, anywhere. And right now it's one of the most unsafe places, but not now. 12 days ago, it was the most unsafe place in our nation. And they have to stop issuing false crime numbers because, I mean, I heard the mayor, and I like the mayor, you know, fine. I don't care if I like her or not. If she did her job, I wish she were a horrible person who did her job. But she's probably nice, I guess. I don't care. I want her to do a job. But they issue false numbers. She said crime is down, you know, before we got, now they can say crime is down. Crime is very much down. But what they did is they issue numbers. It's the best in 30 years. Not the best. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's much worse. And they gave phony numbers. And then they fired the man who didn't want to write the phony numbers. He got fired. And I guess that whole situation is under investigation because it's a very important thing, Pam. I mean, if they're going to give these phony numbers, it's a false feeling that you get crime. You have to do something about it. And you can't go around saying, "Oh, Washington D.C. safe," if it's not. It's going to be very safe very soon. It's very safe right now. You're going to go out, have dinner. People are going out all over the place. They're walking. I have people that work in government, strong, tough cookies. They can take care of themselves. But it doesn't help to have big, strong muscles. And I work out. If a guy's over there with a gun shooting you in your face, you can be the strongest guy in the world. Guy has a gun, shoots you in the face. It doesn't matter how much you've worked out, how many weights you've lifted, how hard you worked. And so we have the toughest guys and we have the best guys. And I'm willing to go to Chicago, which is a big trouble, but we have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems, huge problems. Baltimore, Wes Moore was telling me I want to walk with the president. Well, I said, I want to walk with you too someday, but first you got to clean up your crime because I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole. And this guy, I don't even think he knows it. He's another candidate for president. Between him and Newsom, you got some real beauties, I'll tell you. But if we didn't go into Los Angeles, you wouldn't have the Olympics, in my opinion. You wouldn't have the Olympics. We went in, and the sheriff, the boss, said, thank God they're here. You could see his tape. He said, we were not able to control what was happening. That was the sheriff. And he said it loud and clear. And, you know, they're suing us for going in and cleaning up crime. And yet their own sheriff said, on the first or second night, he said, we could have never handled. That was going to be, you were not going to have the Olympics or the World Cup, because that would be, there wouldn't be anything left. They shouldn't have lost 25,000 houses. The water was turned off from the Pacific Northwest. And I was after them in my first administration, turn on the water, turn it on. Nobody could have believed this could have happened. But they had no water in the fire hydrants. They had no water in the sprinkler systems that people put up in their ceilings. There was no water. And yet we have tremendous amounts of water. They send it all into the Pacific Ocean, trying to protect a certain little fish that's not doing well because it doesn't do well without water either. And it shouldn't be protected because it shouldn't be a protected species. But I think that's actually just an excuse. I actually think these people are sick. There's something wrong. So we send hundreds of millions of gallons of water a day into the Pacific Ocean. They turn a valve, and the valve heads out, and we turn the valve back. I actually had to do it using force. We turned the valve back, and now they have water, but not as much as they should have, because they should, and I'm telling Gavin Newsom by this conversation right now, turn the rest of the water on. Turn it on. So things are done that are so sad in this country. Lack of common sense. I like to say the Republican Party is the party with common sense. We're smart, we're sharp, we're this and that. They're smart, but they're radical left people. And they can't help it. They're very smart, but they're radical left, and they're destroying our country, but they're not going to destroy it anymore. So we picked up millions of people in the Republican Party. They lost millions of people, and I think we're going to do very well in the midterms. And I just want to say one other thing, and that's medicine. The cost of medicine all over the world is much cheaper than the United States because for years the world pushed us around, including our friends. And you go to Germany, you go to England, you go to different places, and you go to a store, and it's sometimes 10% of what we pay in the United States because they said, nope, we're not paying any more. You charge the United States. This went on for 25, 30 years. And I invoked favored nations. I said, I want to pay the same as they're paying. And Bobby Kennedy is doing a good job, and Dr. Oz is doing a good job. And I asked them, I mean, other than the basics that they're doing on autism and other things, which we got to solve that problem because it's crazy what's happening, it's out of hand. But this is the most important thing that can be done is favored nations, Bobby. And we're not talking about a 25% cut or 50, we're talking about a 1,500% cut because people go to Europe to buy drugs and they come back with drugs, prescription drugs, normal, not, I don't mean the bad drugs, I mean prescription drugs, because you can buy them for 10%, 15%, 20% of what. So they're going to go up in price. And I told the countries, and I get along good with all of them. I mean, you could ask anybody, I get along good with all of them. But I said, you know, I told them, I said, you're going to go up a little bit because it's the world. It's the world. So more people in the world than we have. We're going to go down a lot, and they're going to go up a little. And it's called equalization. We're going to have equalization. So we pay the same price as the lowest drug sold anywhere in the world. And I think, Bobby, that's going to happen pretty soon. The companies are ready for it. They had to go for years. I was with a very great gentleman from Eli Lilly. I think he's an incredible executive. I mean, I'll mention the company and I'll mention him because we had this argument my first term, and then we had it in my second term. And my second term, I wouldn't stop until I won the point. And he threw up his hands. He says, you're right, I can no longer defend it. I can no longer defend that a pill that's made by Johnson & Johnson in a factory, in the same factory, in the United States versus a place in Europe or other places, including Canada, by the way, you could buy it for 10% or 15% or 20%, the cost of what we're paying. Where we'd pay 5, 6, 7 times more money. He said, it's the hardest part of my job, defending that. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm saying that we have to get down to business. And that's a great company. He's done a great job, and I appreciated it. And it really broke the ice because they were sending, well, we have to do research and development. Well, you have to do it for Germany and all these other countries too. Well, they think the United States should bear it. I mean, I heard this stuff and I finally said, it's over. Now, you have to have somebody that can get these countries to do it. I told them, if you don't do it, we're going to charge you a 25% tariff on everything you send into our country. That's much more money than what we're talking about. Then we have to get the drug companies to do it, and they'll do it because we have tremendous power over the drug companies too. So we're going to get it done. I just hope we get it done fast, Bobby, because this thing should go fast. But we're going to get the cost of medicine is going to be 1,000%. Think of that. Not 2%. And I'll just tell this last story. When I was in my first term, in my last year, I was so proud of myself because drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years under my administration. You know how much it went down? 1/4%. And I was so proud of that. And I held a news conference, I think you'll be able to find it, congratulating myself and my administration because for the first time in 28 years, drug prices went down. 1/4%, that little tiny, but it still went down. And I thought it was great. And then I realized, it's a very complicated business and formula. You got to be very smart. I said, we're really getting ripped off by the whole world. The whole world is ripping us off. And what happened is I got on this kick, and I got the drug companies to agree, and I got countries to agree. And they're not agreeing because they think I'm a nice person. They're agreeing because I will put charges and costs and tariffs onto them that will be many times more than what they're going to be paying. So the companies are there and the countries are there, and we got to get it done, Bobby. We got to get it done, and we're going to have the biggest price event. Now, that's going to lower Social Security, Medicare. This is going to lower everything because drugs go for everything. It's going to have the biggest impact, I think, of anything that can possibly be done. But your costs are going to be going down for medicine, for prescription drugs, will be going down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. And that's going to happen in a matter of a very short period of time. Very short. And we're all set with the countries, and we're all set with the companies. That's all you need, the two. And the middleman gets cut out. Under this scenario, the middleman doesn't exist anymore. That was the other thing. They always blamed the middleman. I said, who are the middlemen? Nobody knew who the middleman was.
That's right.
They had the most complex formula. It was genius, but they didn't get away with it. So I'm counting on Bobby. Do you want to start, Bobby? Maybe we'll start with you. You can start with that and then go on to what we're talking about.
We are deep into MFN negotiations, most favored nation status negotiations with 14 companies. Howard Lutnick is a breath of fresh air, and I think he's going to help us get across the finish line with the leverage that we have from there.
They're smart. Don't let them get away with it, Howard.
Well, the combination of Bobby's MFN and the 232 pharmaceuticals, which we launched together,
right.
When you put those two together, it really gives Bobby the tools to go execute your plan. So I'm supporting Bobby as he executes his plan.
Good. Right?
Yes. And this cabinet meeting is supposed to be about working Americans and bringing jobs back to this country, and particularly rural America. And I want to mention the big, beautiful bill. Right now, we spend 7% of Medicaid dollars on rural hospitals. So they're getting the short end of the stick. It's about $19 billion a year. Under the Rural Transformation Program, we give them an extra $10 billion a year. So we're raising an infusion of cash to rural hospitals and rural communities by 50%. It's going to be the biggest infusion in history, and it's going to restore and revitalize these communities. And we can't survive as a nation if we don't honor our rural communities, which are the source of our values, our virtues, our character, our economy, our food. And you are bringing that back. You are bringing those communities back. I wanted to talk, because you mentioned the wind farms, we now have an interdepartmental coalition, a team, which is Doug Burgum and Howard Lutnick and Chris Wright and Pete Hegseth. We're all working on this issue. And Lee. Sorry, Lee. We're all working together on this issue. We're meeting together. There are right now 11 wind farms planned that were launched during the Biden administration. Between Maine and Virginia, it's 1,130 towers. These towers are twice the size of the Washington Monument. The blades on them are...
They're massive. It's so crazy.
The blades are 350 feet long, one blade. One of these blades blew up on Nantucket last summer, and the water was filled with shards of glass, of sharp glass, so it was dangerous to swim. They had to close the beaches, but they have indemnified themselves so the local communities can't sue them. None of these projects are bonded. If you build an oil derrick in the Gulf, you got to put a bond down. There's no bond for dismantling them, and that's one of the tools that Doug is now using to challenge some of these projects. None of the cost of energy from these projects is 39 cents a kilowatt hour. The average cost in this country is 17 cents per kilowatt hour.
And natural gas is 3 cents.
Right. So it is the most expensive energy. I've been representing commercial fishermen for 40 years. They are so excited about what you're doing, Mr. President, because their fisheries are being wiped out. As soon as they begin construction, the groundfish fisheries just disappear. The fish leave the area. They've killed 160 whales in the last 2 years. So they're wiping out the whale population, the Atlantic whale population, the big whales, the minkies, the gray whale, or the humpback whales, the right whales. And you are going to save the whales on the East Coast because of this, and you're going to save these economies that are based upon commercial fishing. I'll say one other thing about fishing. We are now, the South Asian nations are now dumping shrimp on our country. The shrimp is heavily contaminated. We just stopped a shipment that was contaminated with cesium-157, which is radioactive. They're farming these shrimps, and they use bactericides and antibiotics and all kinds of chemicals, and the shrimp are so contaminated that the European nations won't take them, so they're dumping them all here, and they're putting out of business. We have the most sustainable, highly regulated fishery in the world. What our fishermen do is a good thing. And all of the trawlers in the Gulf and Alaska are being shut down because we're getting shrimp dumped here. So we have now increased FDA inspections of shrimp to make sure that Americans are not buying and eating contaminated shrimp and putting our shrimpers out of business. I talked just very briefly, we have an historic agreement on pre-authorization. We brought together 80% of the insurance industry, which has agreed to, for 80% of diseases and injuries, to give immediate pre-authorization so that when you go to your doctor's office and he prescribes you a new knee or whatever it is, you will immediately know whether your insurance company is going to pay for it. This is an historic agreement. People have been trying to do it for decades, and we, because of your leadership, brought the insurance industry together and got them to voluntarily agree to do this. Similarly, we made another historic agreement with personal health records. The 60 biggest tech companies in our country have all agreed to allow Americans for the first time access to their personal data, which they own, which these companies have been monetizing without permission. You're going to be able to see by next year all of your health records on your cell phone. It's going to save lives. It is going to fuel an infusion of technology into that space where people can access those records. They can compare their diet to what they personally need, and we'll have personalized medicine. We are doing price transparency. You passed this during your first term, and then the Biden administration refused to enforce it. We've now brought in HHS, under your leadership and my leadership, more enforcement actions than during the entire 4 years of the Biden administration. So we're going to have that kind of price transparency. I'm working with Linda on forcing medical schools and the MCATs, the people who administer the MCATs, the people who do accreditations, to put nutrition into medical school education. Right now, 25% of the doctors in this country do not feel competent to give nutritional advice. 70% of diabetes cases can be reversed or ended if you just change people's diets, and the doctors don't know how to advise it. They only know how to prescribe the drugs. We're going to change that, so if you come out of a medical school under the Trump administration, you are going to know about diet. And then finally, most importantly, the Pete and Bobby challenge. I want to give an update. I got 5 minutes and 48. It's 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, and you try to do it within 10 minutes. I got 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Pete beat me. I'm still bitter at that. 5 minutes and 25. The cabinet leader is Scott Turner. Despite a dislocated arm. He got 5 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm waiting for reports from the rest of the cabinet. The only exemptions currently existing is if you can hit a 50 at Bedminster, which President Trump did with Bryson DeChambeau. So he's the only one exempt in this room. Everybody else will come forward.
That's great, Bobby. Bobby, autism, if I could just, I don't want to go too long because we have a lot of people, but the autism is such a tremendous horror show, what's happening in our country and some other countries, but mostly our country. How are you doing on that?
We are doing very well. We will have announcements as promised in September. We're finding certain interventions now that are clearly, almost certainly causing autism. And we're going to be able to address those in September.
It's such a big day. I'm looking forward to that day because there's something wrong when you see the kind of numbers that you have today versus 20 years ago. And those numbers, what are those numbers, Bob?
In 1970, the biggest epidemiological study in history was done in Wisconsin. They looked at 900,000 children, and they were looking for autism. They knew what it looked like, and they were very, very precise about it, and they found an incident rate of 0.7, in other words, less than 1 per every 10,000 children. Today, our most recent numbers are 1 in every 31 kids. It's probably actually much worse than that because California, which has the best collection system, is reporting 1 out of every 19 children, American children, as autism, 1 in every 12.5 boys. So it's gone from less than 1 in 10,000 in 1970 to 1 in 12.5 boys.
Maybe those numbers. So there has to be something artificially causing this, meaning a drug or something. And I know you're looking very strongly at different things, and I hope you can come out with that as soon as possible.
We will.
So 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 31 or 34 or 12 if it's a boy. Can you imagine that? 1 in 12. That's for a boy.
1 out of every 12.5 boys.
It's not even believable that could be. And that was 1 in 10,000 not so long ago. I've been hearing these numbers, and they get worse and worse every year. There's got to be something. I think there's nothing, including favored nations and everything else, there's nothing that can be, if you can find out the reason that that's happening, and I know we're gonna do some things. I think we maybe know the reason, and I look forward to that press conference, to be with you in that press conference. That's going to be a great thing. Thank you, Bob. You're doing a great job. Linda, how about it? And we want nothing less than $500 million from Harvard. Don't negotiate, Linda. They've been very bad. Don't negotiate. Go ahead.
All of that's working. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much. Since we are focusing today on Labor Day, and I know that Kelly and Lori are both going to echo some of the things that I'll say as well. We are really focusing, on our workforce. But what I'm finding with great joy around the country is that states really are being innovative and working more with middle schools and with high schools to make sure that we are having hands-on learning, their pathways to jobs that are happening now. And if we see more and more of our community colleges working with our middle schools and our high schools so that high school students are graduating not only with a diploma, but a certificate that they have worked with, perhaps with a Toyota or another company that is coming in, public-private partnerships. And they're learning on the job so that when they graduate from high school, they're ready to go into the workforce, because we know with all of these wonderful jobs that are coming back into the country through AI, through just our normal jobs, that we need electricians, HVAC operators, et cetera. If we don't have this training, we're not going to have the workforce we need for all these wonderful jobs. So governors are really excited about this prospect. I've been now to several states and visited community colleges and tech schools with governors, and they're just all on board for getting this done. I think it's one of the best things that we're hearing relative to the job market. So we're just kind of focusing on that for today.
So we're bringing education back to the states, to put it in a more simple fashion. We're going to let the states educate our children again. And, you know, we're rated out of 40 countries, we're 38, 39, or 40. So obviously, it's not working what they've been doing for the last 30, 40 years. And if you go back, the best are like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, some of the other, Finland, they're very highly rated. If you go back to just take a look at anything you want to do, you just look at us in the past. If we gave Iowa or gave Indiana or gave, and I don't say every one of them, you know, a guy like Gavin Newsom's not going to do well. Certain states won't do well. But even California, you cut it up into sections. You have Riverside, you have this, you have that. You cut it into 5 sections. And, you know, if you had a good governor, you'd be able to do well. But certain states will be able to compete with Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and everyone. It'll be just as good. So I figure you have close to 40 of those states. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have 10, you'll have 5 that won't be very good. You have 5 disasters, and we'll have to work on those disasters. But for the most part, we will have education that will go zooming up in those charts, just like we have in everything else we've done. And I think it's one of the most important things we're doing at this table. So bringing education back to the states where you have the parents running it, where you have the school boards that are local. We have people running from Washington that have never even been to the state that they're in charge of. They've never even been there, and I don't think they care about it. So we want to close up the Washington buildings, sell the buildings off, let somebody else get rich with the real estate, because it'll be a crime-free city. By the way, speaking of that, anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but where you have it, it is, we have no choice. So in D.C. and Washington, states are going to have to make their own decision. But if somebody kills somebody, like you could have been killed, very lucky you didn't get killed, it's the death penalty, okay? Fantastic job you're doing. Thank you, Linda. Very much appreciated. How are you doing with the colleges, by the way? You're doing some pretty good work in terms of getting them to treat people fairly.
Well, interestingly enough, since we've been negotiating with some of the Ivy League schools, I have presidents of universities calling every single week. They want to sit down and talk to us about all of the steps that they are taking, because they would like to not come under the same investigative, program. And so it is having its desired effect.
That's great.
If I shot across the bound, the big guys, people kind of step in line and know you mean business, and we have teeth in these agreements. And I'm proud of the work that we're doing there.
Well, they misbehaved, and some of these schools are getting billions and billions of dollars, and they misbehave. So that's it. And so one way or the other, we're going to win that whole thing. It's going to straighten them out. Okay? Thank you. Great job. Lee, please.
Mr. President, the Trump EPA has a special Labor Day message to America's workforce, especially our auto workers, our coal miners, our steam fitters, our pipe fitters, and the list goes on. See what a difference a year makes. A year ago, the way that the Environmental Protection Agency was operating, the choice was made to protect the environment. We would have to strangulate the economy. That's the way that the EPA operated for years. There was a binary choice. We had to choose one or the other. The Trump EPA completely rejects that. See, we choose to protect the environment and grow the economy. And a very special shout out to Russ Vogt and his team at the Office of Management and Budget. We give him a lot of work. He's happy to do it. Dozens of different deregulatory actions. We just announced a proposed rescission of the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding, all of the light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicle regulations that followed. It is the single largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States government. And when you add up the dozens of different actions that we have announced that we're working through. In one agency, in 1 year, we'll do more deregulation than entire federal governments have done across all agencies, across entire presidencies. And what we are accomplishing would not be possible if not for the support of the rest of this team you've assembled around this table. The well-oiled, well-wired machine at the White House, led by Susie Wiles, and the DCOSP, the policy shop, led by Stephen Miller, they have been amazing to work with. I was just in Iowa with Administrator Loeffler, who made an announcement with Secretary Rollins to reverse the deratement on diesel exhaust fluid systems. Mr. President, you said you wanted water flowing faster. Working with the Secretary of Energy, we've done our part to do that, to get gas cans flowing faster, to stop that annoying start-stop feature in vehicles. See, people out there might say, well, why are you focused on all of these little things? If it's little to you, it doesn't mean that it's not a very big deal for millions of other Americans. The charge was clear when you called me in November and you asked me to do this job. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans. Unleash energy dominance. Advance cooperative federalism, permitting reform, make America the AI capital of the world, bring back American auto jobs. What we are accomplishing now, again, wouldn't be possible if not for your leadership. I'm grateful to the American people for electing you and our amazing Vice President. I was just in Mexico City announcing and signing on behalf of the Trump administration an agreement with Mexico for a permanent solution for the Tijuana River sewage crisis, which you have been so outspoken and passionate about in our conversations. It would not be possible if not for Secretary Rubio, Deputy Secretary Landau, U.S. Ambassador to Mexico Johnson. The team at the State Department has been incredible. The work with the NEDC on permitting, to be able to get new pipelines built, to get new factories started. The list, it's amazing. You know, somebody out there might not realize the relationship between the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Defense. The amount of work with Secretary Hegseth and the Army Corps, from responding to the LA wildfires, to getting more water flowing in California, which is also something that Secretary Burgum is involved with, to helping the farmers, the ranchers and landowners to revise the waters of the United States definition so they don't have to go hire an attorney or a consultant to tell them whether or not a water on their property is subject